Alright, time for another draftphysics.com video presentation and such. So, alright, so the Huygens optics guy has done what the usual scientist move is, which is to run away, pretend they're, on some sort of, high ground, like, they can consider anybody else a flat earther. They don't really have to make an argument. It's kind of like the Professor Lewin reaction to Electric Boom, which was, to call him a flat earther because he dared to say there might be something wrong with your interpretation. Your claim that there's two voltages in the same location. So they can say almost anything, and they really don't want to be accountable for what it represents as an idea. Doesn't matter how crazy it gets, and it's just it's it's bad on them. Okay, that's all you can say, right? Okay, so that's where we'll leave it. I mean, I can only do my half of the job, which is to try to make as concise and clear an argument as I can, and that's all I've done. I've sincerely made the points that need to be made to state that, all of this assumption that, wave theory is the default and it's substantiated by a huge amount of evidence isn't the truth. Again, in simple arguments can be used against so many of these things that, somebody left a comment about the stupid Eddington experiment kind of evidence for Einstein. And again, you can just make one statement. You can just say with all of our technology, they haven't repeated the experiment from space. It's really easy to do, and you have 400 times better visibility. The experiment is 400 times easier to do visually, and you don't need an eclipse. I mean, it's a gigantic, huge, insane advantage. And yet we're supposed to believe they've never even attempted the experiment. I mean, who can believe that? All right. I mean, it's so nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense at all. One of the most famous experiments in the history of science that has never been successfully duplicated with superior technology. Come on. Anyway, so these people are just so, I'd almost argue they're worse than the religious cowards, who just want to do their preaching. They don't want to show both sides of the story. They don't want to be ambiguous and say, well, look, we all believe in this God thing. It does make us feel better. But, yeah, there is a ton of evidence for all this other crap. There's all these fossils and dinosaurs. And, if there was dinosaurs, why didn't Jesus talk about them? Come on. Explain why they exist. Why didn't God let us know there was microbes? I mean, it just could have saved so much grief if you just put in the frickin' Bible, oh, there's these little tiny organisms that makes you sick. So you better, wash your hands and do all that kind of shit. Instead, they had to turn it into some sort of ritual. I mean, just simple arguments that should be part of the conversation before somebody becomes a religious kook. And before they believe God wrote the book, when obviously if he wrote the book, he didn't give a shit about your welfare because he didn't tell you any of the things he should have told you about how to live, healthy and happy. I mean, it's just, so they're just as bad as. And they don't want their picture of reality to be just opposed. They don't want to see the counter argument. They don't want it shown. Because they want to just preach their frickin' religion. And that's all this is religion. Okay. So, anyway, I made a video response, and I politely pointed out that, no, I don't think so. Please, and, don't insult my intelligence by pretending you're a particleist who is now turned into a wavist because you observe some new nuance of wave theory that now undoes the photoelectric effect or something. I mean, don't pretend, to be something you're not. All right. So the reply video is an hour and a half of basically 98% of the video is me making arguments about how photons work. All right. What can I say? I feel honored that a great mind like yours takes the time to discuss my humble video containing questionable content. So nobody should do that. If they see questionable content on the internet, they should just let it lie. Nobody should counter-argue, right? When there's a whole bunch of your type, okay, scientists, whatever, freelancers, and they just are obsessed with, let's see if we can make fun of a flat earther. That's what they make a living on the internet doing. Probably 80% of your subscribers go for that kind of crap. Okay. All those things that I never realized. So all of these arguments you're clearly ignoring and evading. That would be the argument. I mean, whether you realize something or not, who knows? But again, all of this crap, because I'm making a counter argument, that I am showing the evidence in a different view of the evidence. I'm showing it by turning it a little bit and saying, now it doesn't quite what you're saying it is. All right. Merged in a concise and to the point video report. So what is all of that? I mean, where exactly is it not a sincere effort to explain why I think you're wrong? Is there something else in the video? No. So what is all this crap? This maligning satire, whatever you want to call this. Let's just now just do some more lying, essentially, in trying to veil my video as something other than a sincere counter argument to your, God theory, wave theory. I guess there's no need for me to make another response video. I don't even know what it means by another response video. Your first video wasn't a response video. You've never made a response video. I don't even know what that means. To this brilliant response video. So again, just more insult for no reason. Whether it's brilliant or not, the point I'm arguing is that you can't touch it. You're afraid to touch one sentence of it. I'll make that clear in my comment to you, but I'm not asking for much here. I'm just saying before you dismiss my argument, first you ought to address the fact that it exists, concede that you actually listened to some piece of it even, and could in some way figure out that I said something that's completely outrageous, that I did something to prove I am a flat earther or I am a liar. I mean, you can do that to flat earthers, right? I mean, they'll make arguments, or the conspiracy theorists, they'll make arguments that have been debunked for decades, and they'll keep making them as if they haven't already been thoroughly debunked. All right, but you didn't do any of that. All right, video, because there's no way I could ever win the argument. Well, whether you can win it or not isn't the point. The point is there's points to be addressed, and you're going to pretend they don't exist, and that's kind of cheap. It's not scientific. That would be the argument. Okay, it has nothing to do with the scientific method, ignoring all counter theory. Yeah, no, that's not part of how the game's supposed to be played. Besides, your video speaks for itself. Well, it wouldn't have to be an hour and a half long if all of this was speaks for itself stuff. It's obviously not speaks for itself. You obviously have to detail some of this. I mean, unless you do a lot of research, you won't even know that Eddington wrote in his journal, I wouldn't stake my life on these results. I mean, even though he got a New York Times headline saying Einstein proven right, okay, he says in his own journal, yeah, I got 10% of the quality of data. I mean, it's a pretty crappy experiment, actually. So, none of this science speaks for itself. And that's the whole problem. You all want to make it simple, and you all want to pervert it into some sort of, you have a tiny, tiny shred of evidence, and you want to turn that into a bright, bright light, and exaggerate. And that's the game you're playing as a propagandist. You don't, like I said, you're a preacher. You don't care about the truth here. You just care about telling people what they want to hear and being rewarded and having sycophants, say up a bunch of crap. Yes, correct. That's about sums it up. That's one of his comments to me. You want those one little sentences saying something, whatever, petting you, So anyway, I reply to that. Clearly you're the one pretending your science is above critique. My video merely points out the difference in our understanding of what the experimental evidence demonstrates. Clearly, the truth is that the Young drawing was wrong for any real two-slit experiment. I mean, if you said the words, hey, I'm going to do a two-slit experiment, and then I put the qualifier on her, oh, the slits can't be any bigger than the wavelength of light. So they have to be not small, not little tiny, but I mean infinitesimally small slits. And that's the only thing it works for. And the only reason why it works is because it creates a pattern that isn't the double slit anymore. Because it won't have the two patterns superimposed on each other. It won't have the cliche observable of the double slit pattern. It will show you a single slit pattern because you basically destroy two of the point sources, as I point out in the video. That's a fact. Okay, it's not really negotiable as this subject to interpretation or understanding. I'm saying that's just an absolute fact. That this whole thing has been sold as if this is a real deal, kind of, it proves wave theory, when no, it doesn't do any such thing. It proves you can turn a double slit into a single slit if you make the slits really, really small. Okay, I would love for you to show a single instance in my video to be incorrect, a single sentence. So that's all. Is that asking too much? I mean, can't you find one sentence where I say something outrageous and just point it out and then say, okay, I'm declaring you incompetent because you said something really stupid, like, elephants can fly. And so here, you said that elephants can fly thing, that disqualifies you. You said a lie, you said a deception, you said something that wasn't accurate, so therefore I can disqualify you. Did you do any of that? No. Absolutely nothing. You didn't even resort to your hair's too long. You didn't resort to anything. You just dismissed it out of hand for no reason other than somebody disagrees with you. And I guess I don't have a PhD, so, that disqualifies me. But that's it. You didn't deal with this in any kind of reasonable manner at all. You're just saying, nobody, don't bother wasting your time, okay, trying to correct any mistakes you make, because you're above it. Yeah, okay. Part of a scientist's job is to be tested. So that's part of the game to play. And you should be kind of inviting that. You should want your arguments to be shown to be better, shown to be strong, shown to have integrity. Because they're tested. They actually win a battle. They actually do what they say they can do, which is prove or demonstrate that they have some sort of integrity. You should almost invite it or wish for it, as I beg for it on the internet, as I try to pay people to debunk me. Because, yeah, the truth is I'm not afraid, first off. And the fact is that I can defend what I'm saying. All right. Instead of taking my test in the fair manner I presented it, you are just running away with a cheap accusation that I haven't constructed a worthy test. So again, the whole video, okay, it's a little boring maybe, but it's just about two-slit phenomenon. It's about the history of the two-slit. It's about what the two-slit produces. It's about possible explanations for interpretations of those experiments. I didn't go into all the Copenhagen crap and all the silly mini worlds and all the silly interpretations because they're so silly. Because if they got the underlying facts right, if they actually said what they should say about the two-slit experiment in terms of how it's been propagandized, you wouldn't even need those arguments because they would be on their face, unevidenced, imagination talk. Because you really don't have any reason to even speculate in those directions. Photons deciding which slit to go through. How about just quoting one sentence where I did an injustice to the facts? So is that asking too frickin' much? No, I don't think it is. Yes, okay. So he says, yes, correct. That about sums it up. So I just called him a coward. He basically says, yes, I'm a coward. Okay, so I guess I should have just stopped there and said, okay, that's about all you can say, right? You people are afraid of the argument. You're frickin' cowards. You don't have the integrity to defend your physics in any kind of honorable way. And so I had to take it to the next level, which was basically to say, okay, I'll pay you. Can I pay you to pretend to have integrity? So you can't have any on your own. Can I pay you to have it? And the answer is going to be, of course, no. I'm willing to pay you to watch the video and point out any sentence I spoke that deserves classification as irrelevant or inappropriate. So I'm saying, take the hour-and-a-half video, the hour and 20 minutes, whatever the hell it is, watch even 5 minutes of it. Find a sentence, find a statement I made that is not within the realm of reasonable interpretation of the evidence, the history, the facts, the data. Find something that gives you some right to dismiss me, all right? Rather than this prejudice you just imposed where I will just dismiss anything, okay? With any cheap accusation to evade having to defend what you're saying as being the truth or being fair to the facts. Because I would argue it isn't fair to the facts if you say something like, wave theory has been proven. Okay. And I'll show, like in the description of his own video here, where he, does this kind of crap. Okay, this is the first episode about coherence. Why there's 2 episodes, I guess, is to make more money. But anyway, and how this wave phenomenon can cause waves to behave like localized entities or energy quanta. So he's saying how waves can look like a particle. Okay, yeah, which still, I can't even imagine why people would even think this kind of crap, that you can make waves, that travel tiny discrete paths. It makes no sense. Laser waves. Ugh. Anyway, unfortunately, the quantum or corpuscular description of light leads to a lot of confusion. So that's his statement. So he's clearly saying that somehow Newton and Einstein just confused the subject. When, no, the argument is your wavicles confuse the subject. The subject was about energy moving from point A's to point B's, from starting points to landing points, okay? And you're the ones that have turned that into something complicated, okay? Superimposed and entanglement and all kinds of crap. Okay, the goal of this video is to describe quantized behavior of light purely from wave principles. So he's basically saying that we're going to come up with some elemental wave thingy, okay, and explain how the wave thingy makes it look like a particle. Please. I mean, please, it's so upside down, right? It's just so upside down. We're going to push the pull theory of physics in the universe. It's really all pulls, and all the pushes just are an illusion because it's really just a pull. No, it's the other way around. Kind of obviously the other way around. The pulls are the illusion. The pushes are the obvious. Because why first transform waves into particles and then try to describe them using wave functions? Right, exactly. Why do any of that? Why not just leave them what they should have been left, which was discrete bits of energy moving from one place to another? Which every bit of light looks like. It looks like rays of light to me. The explanation seems perfectly reasonable. The sun is spitting a bunch of stuff at the universe. And the stuff can travel a long distance and then land somewhere. Alright. So, okay. So we finished up with I'm asking now, come on, alright, what do I have to pay you to endure the horror of actually paying some attention to my argument and in some way countering it with something like a real accusation? Not one you just made up because you didn't pay any attention, you just dismissed, but a real accusation of my incompetence or the poor quality of the argument. Something. How much do I have to pay you to do that? All right. And then he says, I'm not sure why you would want me to do this. I want you to do it because you can't do it. That's why I want you to do it, because you won't be able to do it. All right? You won't have any faculties. You won't have any evidence. You won't have any experiments. You won't have any data. You won't have anything to be able to resurrect your crap against my accurate critique of it as crap. The Young experiment was a piece of steaming crap. Okay, it was visually crap. It was, the construction of the experiment was crap. It wasn't even monochromatic light. The whole thing was crap. It was as silly as somebody saying, well, platypuses look like ducks. Okay, it was that bad. All right. We just have different views and different ways to express those views. It wasn't about any expression, okay? The video was pretty tame, all right? It wasn't at all challenging. I mean, it had a bunch of the archaic fake politeness that you people oblige everybody to have. Oh, you're fine, lordship, right? I have to, what, is that really? We have to go back 300 years and people have to talk to you like your royal fucking highness? Yeah, well, it didn't exactly have that in it, but I paid you enough fucking concessions to all that crap. I didn't call you out right from the start and say, this is just a lying coward who wants to propagandize for his personal little pet theory, but he doesn't want to be challenged. He just wants to be rewarded and applauded, okay, because he's talking about the glory of God, the glory of the Jesus wave. You're just religious fanatics running from reality. And I'm reality. Okay? That's the truth of it. I'm coming for you. Okay? Reality is coming for you. And you're afraid. Alright. We just have different views and different ways to express our views. Personally, I'm fine with that. So what kind of scientist is fine with that? Right? Is there any history of scientists who said, oh, we have different opinions? I'm fine with that. No, there's absolutely no evidence that scientific minds don't find it troubling and disturbing and irritating if there's conflicting ways to see something and there's counter views. It irritates them. It causes them dissonance. They don't like it to be unclear. They don't like there to be doubt. So again, this was just more placating, patronizing nonsense, because this isn't what he actually thinks. He doesn't actually think it would be fine if he was preaching something and Veritasium was preaching something exactly the opposite. It just happens that it's me saying something the opposite. And it's me who he'll pay no attention to. You have to have, again, you have to be qualified by some pop standard. Okay, so once I am famous, well then he'll be kissing my ass or attempting to. But no, until then he'll treat me like shit. Okay, he'll dismiss. It just shows they don't have any character. This is, there's just no integrity in these people. Okay. So I counter-argue with the reasonable statement. I think the truth matters. I think what people believe matters. So yeah, this is pretty elemental. This is pretty important shit. You wouldn't be making videos about this shit if you didn't think it was important. You've even narrowed yourself just to this idea of optics and light, and focused on it because you think it's important. I mean, you're just you're just so full of shit. To be blunt, okay, so this is the first evidence that, oh yeah, okay, I'm being polite. Well, fuck being polite, all right. I think you and other scientists, presenters are deceiving people, and that's what you're doing, okay? You're propagandizing. You're not telling the truth about what the evidence really says, all right? You're quote mining the evidence and cheating the evidence. Okay, with what is little more than a poorly evidenced religion, and I'm not fine with that, and I'm going to do what I have to correct it. So I'm just explaining why I have my point of view and why I'm going to defend it. All right, because I think that's what you people really are. You're fanatics for a particular religion, just like Leibniz, just like one of the people that drove good science into the toilet, were people who allowed their religion to start, modifying their physics. If the physics looks too sterile and too ungodly, we have to shove a square in there to, make things interesting again. Make things that require God's attention. All I'm asking from you is a fair amount of accountability. I think it's a fair amount, like I said. I mean, what is it? Like I said, you just watch the video and point out where I'm saying something that deserves to be dismissed. Deserves to be, oh, forget it. You're just lying. You're just talking shit. Okay. Effectively, you're selling a product. I claim to have evidence it's a lemon. You should be willing to defend yourself against that claim, especially if I'm willing to pay you to do it. So again, I'm willing to pay you to endure the horror of actually having to address the counter argument to the crap you said. All right, so why won't you take my money, all right, for you to be accountable and actually say something real? Okay, defend something. Defend what you fucking said, and in some way point out how I did the crime against the truth. Show me my crimes against the fucking truth. The real evidence. What the real evidence actually shows, which is the double slit experiment showed by Thomas Young wasn't the double slit pattern. He didn't see the double slit pattern. He didn't describe the double slit pattern. So why are we talking about the Young double slit experiment when there's no double slit pattern he's actually producing? Can you deal with that fact? Okay. So he says, sorry to hear that you're not satisfied with our product. So this is the scientific approach, is again just more of this evasion. I'm going to pretend, let's pretend this is some other scenario. Then you're making a challenge to a trial. And yeah, the opposition is saying, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't like your fake evidence. Okay, you saying there you found the guy's fingerprints at the scene. Well, that's a lie. Okay, you're coming to court with crap evidence, and somebody sits there and dares to stand up and say, well, that's a piece of garbage. You don't have that piece of evidence. Why are you claiming it's the only possible theory when it's not the only possible theory? Why are you saying that Thomas Young proved light behaves as a wave when he didn't really do any of that? All right. My nephew works at customer service. He might be able to arrange a refund. So this is a link to some crappy little whatever music video about customer service. I mean, it's a joke. It's a stupid little waste your time. So this is the crap he actually watches on the internet. He's wasted some portion of his neurological time watching little fucking putrid music videos making jokes out of customer service. Okay, whatever. That would be reason for me to dismiss you, okay, as a scientist. If this is what you've wasted your time doing, then I guess that's why you don't know that Thomas Young's experiment doesn't fucking work. Oh, God. But so pathetic. I mean, I'm challenging you. I'm saying, look, I'll even pay you to do it, you coward. Can you show up to the battle if I pay you? Come on, you pussy. Show up. You're made a challenge to the truth. I think it's absolute shit. I think you're a lying piece of scum. Okay, will you show up to this challenge? All right, I'm paying you to do it. I'm giving you the gun and the bullets and all the rest of the crap. You don't have to pay for any of it. All right, you just have to show up and point the gun. Do you have the balls to do it? All right. So you can't be bothered to address criticism even if you're offered fair payment to do so. The defenders of science like you, who needs religion? With defenders of science like you, who needs religion? And that's all the statement needs to be made. All of these people are cowards. I sent out 40 emails this week. Didn't get one single reply. Okay, I offer them, hey, I'll pay you I'll do whatever it takes to get you to address the subject of kinetic energy. What will it take for you to show us how a lever works? And no one will show up to show us how a lever works. Show us that kinetic energy theory survives the lever test, the balance test. Show us that it can survive that simple test. And none of these cowards will show up to do it. And they're getting rewarded by these morons on the internet who keep thinking, well, one of my favorite things about this channel is that it doesn't dumb things down. It tells us lies in plain English. Almost English. It's very well explained. Well, because it's all a pile of crap. Okay, but doesn't rely on mediocre metaphors to do so. That's all his demonstrations are metaphor, wave metaphors. Like somehow water is going in little channels through the space and vibrating. I don't know. It's not even like water because water isn't doing this transverse crap. You know. Oh, it's pathetic. But that's all he's interested in. Applaud me. I'm doing science. You know, pathetic. Okay, there's nothing from him here. Wow, that was deep. Oh, there was a deep comment. Oh, I'm sure there wasn't. But it's just so bad. Alright. So, yes, when he makes his part 2, I will certainly do my share of critiquing. Fuck this guy. Why bother even responding? You know, if you can't do better than this, why did you even respond to my comment? Why don't you just do what the rest of the cowards do and just delete it? But the very fact that you engaged in a conversation as if you have some integrity, as if you're, oh, I really pay attention. I'm looking for people to make a critique. I'm looking for being challenged. I'm not afraid. You pretend, okay? And that's all it is pretense. Every one of your comments was a pretense at saying something honest. It's all dishonest crap, okay? You're just a liar and a coward. Period. And you've proven it here. Alright? You're just I'm gonna pretend like I care about the truth, when clearly you did everything you could possibly do to evade it. Again, I will pay you. What will it cost for you to watch an hour and 20 minutes of video and then point out the sentences you think are so fucking outrageous that you have the right to dismiss the argument? Show any sentence in my video that deserves to be dismissed. Show that you have some fucking integrity. Before you dismiss, degrade, and insult somebody, why don't you prove you have some kind of reason to do it? Some kind of real reason to do it. Okay. So what we will show is somebody who does deserve to be classified as a troll. So I'll jump to the video I did yesterday. And we'll see if there's any other comments on that video. But we'll just see if we get anything from this other guy. You know, we'll see if we can find one single proselytizer of bullshit on the internet. We'll see if we can find one of these little weasels who has the balls to actually make a counter argument. Can they draw a picture of a two-slit experiment and explain how it works? Yeah. Explain how it's not a surface experiment. Alright. Yeah, that would be the key point. Explain how, yes, it's a bulging wave that goes through the opening. Not even close. In the single slit, it doesn't work at all, right? I mean, if they actually had to draw this shit they talk, you know, to do the single slit, you know, they still have to create two waves. And, you know, where are they going to put them? You know, they cut it in half right here in the middle, so they have a wave here and a wave here, and somehow those two waves interfere with each other. But their math says the waves have to be here and here. That's the distance they're doing in their math, so the center of the waves can't be here and here. The center of the wave has to be right here on the surface. They can't even be honest enough to accept that, yes, that's what we're supposed to draw. The wave is right on the center of the wave, should be drawn right on the surface. They're not even honest enough to admit that's exactly what the math dictates. The math that works says you have to put the wave there. Why don't you draw it that way then? I mean, they're just so fucking dishonest. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so this is, I posted a comment on the Michael Young video, commercials. Anyway, just a response, right? And so this John Walker guy, so this is a guy who believes in free energy, the little brozo, calls brozo Dr. Brozo. Just such, what an idiot though. I mean, a clueless idiot. So he posts this comment on this other guy's video. So these people don't care what kind of noise they make and mess they make in comment sections. So they did this to the Franklin Who video, right? Franklin makes a video and they start doing all their insider crapola, talking about their lives and their, daily, bowel movements and whatnot. In his comment section, it's just so funny. They just don't care what kind of place they put this slop. So anyway, so he posts a separate comment. Now somebody coming to this video who doesn't know me and doesn't know any of this context is going to see this comment. What are they going to think this comment is saying? So it's just so funny. I mean, so somebody comes to the video, they read this comment, it says, people should better not watch Goofy's videos. So who would he think Goofy was? So he'd think Goofy was the guy in the video. That's right? Who else is he going to think he's talking about? Shouldn't watch Goofy's videos because she's lying through her teeth. So now he's making aspersion as if the guy's gay or something, or a tranny or whatever. So he's calling, he's implying that the person making the video is the person he's talking to. She's not able to handle primary school functions. So, I mean, all of this rhetoric is useless because it assumes that somebody went to this video, knows who I am, and knows that you refer to me with these little silly slanders. I mean, it's just so fucking funny. They're so stupid. I mean, they can't. They're so aggressive in they have to do this degrade and insult thing. They can't actually make a counter argument, and they're so aggressive to do it that they'll slop this crap on somebody else's video. They have so little respect for this professor that that's what they'll do on their videos, and they'll talk about how they care about this science. So it's clear they don't care about the science. They don't care about the integrity of the science. They don't care about protecting the science. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just care about somehow making me go away. Okay, I am a huge threat to them for whatever reason. Because I have 5 fingers on my hand. That's probably the reason. Oh. Because I'm a little just too much of a decent human being for them to stand the existence of it. Because it just makes them look so fucking bad. You're just, what the fuck? I mean, this planet is so fucking lost. Alright, so that's probably enough. So yeah, with no response from Mike. I have tried to contact him in the past, it just hasn't worked out. Again, I think he does a great job as a teacher. I think, a lot of his content is really great. But yeah, on some of these subjects, it's just bad physics. It's not his fault it's bad physics. It's just bad physics. It's bad science. And they just haven't figured that part out, that part of what they're preaching just doesn't have anything to do with facts and the truth. But anyway, yeah, so that's probably enough of a video. But anyway, what can I say? Just, it's like I said, it's hard enough to do all of this research, do all of this thinking and figuring out how it could possibly be different than they say, and then you go to all that trouble and you come up with a pretty good theory, and they won't listen to it, and they won't do what's necessary, which is allow the argument to be made at trial. They won't let the evidence in the courtroom. It's that, that's pretty much the story here, is they want to do this. They want complete control, and they just don't want anybody rocking their control boat. They don't want to have to deal with real facts that pretty much indicate they're talking shit, that their fables aren't reality. They're little entanglement gods, and they're little, it's all fairies and gremlins and bullshit. All this dark matter, all this crap they just make up to glue this silly theory together. Shit. But none of them to have any balls at all, no integrity to be found. You just can't challenge them. You can't pay them. You can't do anything because they know they're going to lose. I mean, Ken Wheeler was one of the only people that had the balls to at least respond to my challenge. But yeah, it was meaningless because he responded in, yeah, you're going to pay me $2,000. Great. Oh, what? I might lose the argument? Oh no, we can't do that then. No. So yeah, he really wanted the money. I guess that's the difference, right? He really wanted the money, but he knew he knew he's not gonna win. He knew his little fable physics isn't gonna look good when it has to be tested. It's not gonna pass the test. He's not gonna win the debate. That's simple. And that's why it didn't happen. It's just pathetic. Shit. Yeah, that's all you can say. This is a shitty circumstance, but I will endeavor to persevere, and that's all I can do. And we'll just wait so we can see if we get one of the cowards, one of the puro shit talkers, one of these little weasels, the brozos, the rest of them. Let's see if we can get them to draw a fucking lever and explain how it doesn't make free energy. Yeah. Fucking goddamn assholes. I mean, it's so stupid that this is all about something so obviously wrong. It's obviously silly. 1/2 mv squared is obviously silly. 4 times more gas to go twice as fast. I mean, silly things that they can't prove, they'll never prove because it doesn't happen. And they won't concede, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Professional bowlers are using 16-pound balls because, 8-pound balls don't have twice as much energy. Yeah. Duh. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's enough of a video. Shit. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just this. I didn't imagine this would be the problem. In terms of, it's a bold thing. Yes, I'm challenging established physicists. I'm challenging people with PhDs and all of that stuff. That's bold. But I really didn't think they'd run away. I just didn't imagine that would be the scenario, that I'd have to go out and chase them down. Pathetic. Yeah, really. Alright, so I'll get the hell out of here. So, till the next time and such, this has been a draftphysics.com video presentation. Shit. You people really, 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 really do suck.